There's plenty of disc golf courses in the ghetto.
That's true.
The problem with the idea of grow the sport in disc golf is the companies behind that idea are going about it all wrong. Their idea of grow the sport is to grow the money within the sport. That is their sole approach to growing the sport. Proof of this is that when you listen to some of these sponsored pros, their main goal is to find people who will move product. They are not necessarily interested in what type of caliber of athlete you really are. They are solely interested in how much money you can make them. Proof of this is with, first off, Brody Smith. Secondly, numerous pros who have said this. Thirdly, and the latest I've seen is this Bonanza Disc guy. Does great videos, does a lot of videos, lots of reviews, but what made him most attractive to Infinite Disc was what he could do for their bottom line. This is why Grow the Sport is not taken seriously and is not really doing anything for the sport. The people are the ones who grow the sport, not the money, not the businesses, not the companies. Nobody gives a shit about the companies putting more money, making more discs. Nobody cares about that. The way you grow the sport is to get more people playing. Is the disc golf community really interested in getting more people playing, or are they interested in getting more money for the sport? It's obvious. They're only interested in the bottom line, the money game. Proof of this is look at it from a comparison to all the other professional sports in the past. Baseball, basketball, football, all the sports were available to only one demographic of people. Back then, it was by law. You couldn't play because you weren't allowed to play.
In the ghetto.
On top of that, you didn't have access to it. We didn't have access to golf courses. We weren't allowed access to basketball courts. We weren't allowed access to football stadiums. We had our own leagues until they were integrated because the people started to realize that the real athletes were in our leagues and they could no longer look the other way because it was starting to look embarrassing. Look at some of the old basketball videos. Look at how they were playing. The sport of disc golf has not even been discovered yet. The cut line for professionals in the next 5 to 10 years, let's say 10 years to be safe. In the next 10 years, the face of disc golf is going to look completely different. Because finally, a different face will start to work its way into the sport. And the face of that athlete is the face of the best athletes in the whole world. That is what the disc golf community is missing. The disc golf community does not reach out to our communities. I don't know why. I don't care why. They would rather virtue signal. Disc golf companies are more interested in investing in other countries, whole other continents, than they are in their own hometowns. They will send professional disc golfers all the way to the other side of the world before they send somebody down the street. You will not be able to grow the sport to its maximum capacity without our community. You will not be able to grow the sport to its maximum capacity by dumping money into discs. It will not happen. Putting more money into that is not how you grow the sport. You grow the sport by investing in the people. Right now, disc golf companies are just as guilty for keeping us from playing in their sport as the people were back in the Babe Ruth days. The reason why Babe Ruth had all those titles, all those accolades, is because he was playing during a time when the sport was not at its maximum potential. I just saw something recently. It was a joke about Paige Pierce gaining all of her achievements because she was playing at a time when the FPO division was nowhere close to where it is today, let alone close to its maximum capability. And they were comparing that to Ken Climo. Same situation. Ken Climo would not be Ken Climo if he was playing against the Ken Climos from Haiti, the Ken Climos from the Dominican, the Ken Climos from Puerto Rico, the Ken Climos of South America, the Ken Climos of East Oakland, the Ken Climos of San Francisco, the Ken Climos of Detroit. In that aspect, Ken Climo is the baseline. He's the middle ground. And you have people celebrating, completely ignoring the perspective that this is the Babe Ruth era. And if you ask me, and I can say if you ask us, there's a lot of people that see that the sport is trying to keep it that way.
Good sidearm that you know that's going to be in your area is kind of the key, unless you're willing to travel to them.
Yeah, you know that Nate Sexton can break it down because, like, I've seen clinics of his before where he's very well spoken and helps to understand each little part of it. I know Eric Oakley does lessons as well. I'd say he's got a pretty darn good sidearm.
Yeah, he does.
So
Absolutely.
he'd be
I just didn't know
somebody
where
to reach out to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You want to keep it moving?
I was just reading some of the comments. They're making me frustrated. Well, let's deal with this one. Subtle Infinity. No offense to Paul Macbeth, but
Infinity.
he's only. What did I say?
You said Infinity.
Oh.
I don't know what that is. But.
No offense to Paul Macbeth, but he's only the Babe Ruth of disc golf. Before baseball allowed other than white people to play professionally.
What?
What are the pros doing to reach out to us in the ghetto? I don't know if you're being sarcastic or something, but you do know that Paul Macbeth is not white. Right?
Yeah.
He's of an ethnicity.
Everyone's of an ethnicity.
Right, but not white.
Okay.
So it's just kind of, I don't know. Sorry, Infinity. Subtle. Not so subtle, Infinity. Your comment makes no sense. To me, at least. Next question.
There's plenty of disc golf courses in the ghetto.
That's true.
I've played many
In
of
the
them.
ghetto. I've played plenty, yeah.
No joke.
There is no outreach to us. There are no plans to focus on our demographic, to focus on our communities. I've said this in the past. We do not know about the sport. The only people who know about the sport are rich white kids who live in the suburban area, because the suburban area is close to where parks exist. We do not have parks, trees, and open space.
In the ghetto.
It's not available to us. Obviously, you're going to have one-offs, and people are going to say it's all the, well, people, there's parks all over. In general, I live right down the street from all these parks. I grew up in Oakland my whole fucking life. Never knew about Golden Gate Park. Never knew about Moraga. Never knew about Chabot and San Leandro. Never knew about any of the courses around me. Heavily populated area outside, 20, 30 minutes outside of from where I am. Parks all over the place. Never knew the sport existed. No Discraft, no Innova, no Dynamic Disc came to our schools, did anything. There's nothing there. And this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying like, oh, they should have done that. I don't give a fuck about what they should have done. I'm talking about right now. Because as of right now, they're still not doing it. They're sending their people to Africa. They're sending their people to Mexico. Won't go to Detroit. Won't go to Oakland. And when you bring this up, you're the bad guy. We're not the bad guy. We see this. This stuff happens in our own backyard. We are being kept. I was kept from playing a tournament just yesterday. A fucking free tournament. With plenty of space. But because these individuals have power trips in their control over the disc golf club, they chose not to allow me to play. And other people. You can say it's about this. You can say it's about that. Doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, if it were your friends that was asking to play at the last minute, without question, by all means, come on in. Sure, you could play. You're one of us. If you are not in their inner circle, you are not going to be able to play. That community is the inner circle. The disc golf world right now is the inner circle. I've brought my ideas up to how they could outreach, how we can get it going. Zero response from these companies. The only way we make disc golf work in our community is if we do it. We do not have the support of these companies. They do not think that they can push. They don't see money when they see us. They see loss. because they're invested in the money, the financial gain. They're not invested in the people. We invest in the people. We invest in each other. And until the disc golf community starts to see this, it will never change. In fact, it's going to get worse. They saw this boom in the COVID time frame. They thought all this stuff was going to happen because now there's movement in the sport, in the community. But the only thing they saw when they saw that movement was money. They did not choose to invest in the people. They wanted to invest in themselves. And that's how it's always been. And you can have your little glory. You can have your little time in the spotlight right now. But no, and you already know, when our people start playing this sport, your people in that sport will be fucking irrelevant. The cut line for these major events, when we start playing the sport, there will only be a handful of the pros up there right now playing. Only a handful, enough that I can count on my hand, on one hand, that will be able to play, because there will be so many new people taking over this sport. Your heroes, your champions will be fucking irrelevant, and that scares the shit out of them. What are we talking about here? Sports, athleticism. Who are the best athletes in the world? Are those athletes playing your sport? No. Why? Because they do not know about the sport. Is that your fault? No. Is it partially your responsibility to help them know? Yes, because you know about the sport. When I found out about disc golf, I wanted to tell the whole fucking world. I still do that. I started my own YouTube channel. I started putting disc golf videos on my personal YouTube channel, talking to random people, but we can only do so much. These individuals have these platforms. They have the outreach. But time after time, they choose not to take that route. They choose to invest in themselves. They choose to chase the money. And when you bring up this information, you're the bad guy. You're race baiting. No. These are facts. The history of professional sports in this Western ideology is a proven fact. Baseball started out a certain way. Basketball started out a certain way. Football started out a certain way. Disc golf is not the exception. In fact, it's one of the saddest truths, because here we are in 2024 and it's still starting out the same way. And the people who are in those communities, who have the ability to do something about that, to change it, are doing the same shit that they were doing back in the day, which is absolutely nothing. And it exists on the smaller scale inside these little disc golf community clubs. Ask anybody who does not have the complexion for protection when they go and play these tournaments out in these valleys and all these places who are away from our communities. When you go out there, you get those looks. They try to cheat you. They try to keep you from thriving, from going as far as you can go. This is not us overreacting. Do not try and gaslight us. We have story after story after story proving our perspective on this. You do not know because you are not in our shoes. We know. We see this. We live this every fucking day. They get a little bit of power and they will drop that hammer on you as hard as they can as soon as they have that opportunity. And there's nothing you can do about it. And if you want to do something about it, you instantaneously become the bad guy for even bringing up that option, for even bringing up that possibility of that being the reason why things are the way they are. So if you want to grow the sport, hold these companies accountable. Hold these people accountable. Get to the heart of the issue. What's going to grow the sport? Selling discs? Fuck that. Selling discs ain't going to grow shit. It's going to grow the pockets of these companies. That's all it's going to do. And these professional disc golfers need to say something about this too, because you have amazing players who are getting fed crumbs. Nothing. Because they can. Because they don't have any protection. Because all they want them to do is sell discs. Move their product. They don't give a fuck about them. Change the conversation. Adjust the narrative to what is real. What is real is that the people will grow the sport, not the discs. Invest in the people, and you will change the sport.
Let's see if we can find some questions. Seems to be quite a bit of debate going on with infinity.
Subtle infinity.
Oh, he's still on here?
Yeah.
He's still talking about.
It's talking about growing disc golf in inner cities and asking why pros don't do that. And subtle infinity, I'll give you the answer that I don't think anybody's saying so far. It's that the pros, in general, are competing, right? So that's what they do. That's what they focus on because it's their livelihood. It's their job to go out and compete.
See, Russell didn't wait until he was safe to stand up for what was right. Russell did that in the midst of winning 11 championships. He represented things that were right while he had something to lose.
Now, I know that they'll play tournaments that are not in super affluent areas. So I wouldn't think there's really I don't think there's anything that's keeping them from going to areas that might be in inner cities or anything like that. It's just where the disc golf courses are. I think that's all there is to it.
There's plenty of disc golf courses in the ghetto.
Keeping them from going to areas that might be in inner cities or anything like that. It's just where the disc golf courses are. That's true.
I've played many
in
of
the
them.
ghetto.
It's just where the disc golf courses are.
You gotta find a park, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do it yourself. Do it yourself. Like,
He says he does. He says he takes
That's
also
great.
basket to parks.
that's awesome.
Good. If there are more people like you, then that'd be awesome.
That's props. That's awesome. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll be a short audio episode for us, unless you see some specific disc golf questions.